Good evening, you're watching Mongolian World. I'm your host, Amir Batter. And for top stories, the third state central hospital successfully performed the first heart freezing treatment. Mongolia has plenty of potential to export meat and meat products. According to research authors, unintentionally discriminate against women in their writing. And for the news, stay tuned. In a medical breakthrough, Mongolia takes a giant leap in cardiac care as the state's third central hospital introduces cutting-edge heart freezing technology. In a historic milestone, the hospital has successfully completed its first heart freezing operation, marking a significant turning point in cardiac treatment. This innovative procedure promises faster recovery and fewer complications for patients with cardiac arrhythmia, offering new hope for those battling heart conditions. Cardiac arrhythmia, including atrial fibrillation, poses significant risk of chronic complications. Recently, the third state central hospital has introduced an innovative heart freezing technology for treating these conditions, offering new hope to patients. In Mongolia, where these conditions are becoming more prevalent among younger people, this groundbreaking treatment has been administered for the first time. Here's what the doctor had to say about this revolutionary heart freezing technology. Heart freezing technology distinguishes itself from open surgery by utilizing minimal invasive techniques. It involves puncturing the veins, where a needle navigates small bridges inside the heart to pinpoint the pathological center responsible for arrhythmia. Once located, the problematic center is frozen. One of the primary advantages of this treatment method is that it is significantly shorter in duration, typically lasting between 70 to 90 minutes. It is a relatively straightforward technique to master. Introducing this treatment in Mongolia appears to be an ideal solution for addressing heart arrhythmia. Patients undergoing heart freezing treatment can resume their normal activities from the day after the surgery. Moreover, the need for repeated surgeries is greatly reduced. Doctors from the Ryujin Hospital have noted that when they initially performed the first heart freezing treatment at the state's third central hospital, Mongolian physicians demonstrated excellent skills and the potential to independently perform this procedure in the future. Our first treatment session was a resounding success, with Mongolian doctors benefiting from our supervision during the procedure. They've conducted thorough foundational research and exhibited proficient skills. Given their prior experience in cardiac surgery, they are well equipped to carry out freezing treatments independently. Notably, there were no complications during inaugural treatment. It is worth mentioning that many of the patients currently undergoing treatment in Mongolia are quite young. While we lack precise statistics on the prevalence of this type of disease in Mongolia, there is a preliminary consensus that heart arrhythmias are a widespread issue. It is of utmost importance to introduce and promote the adoption of freezing treatment technology for this condition. Heart freezing therapy is already well established in European countries, and in China, region hospital doctors have successfully implemented and standardized this technology. In Mongolia, there are over 20 diseases that currently lack effective treatments. The introduction of heart freezing treatment at the state's third central hospital represents a significant step towards reducing the number of diseases that cannot be locally treated. The third state central hospital completed the first 6 treatments with resounding success, further solidifying the feasibility of this groundbreaking approach. In a promising development for the Mongolian economy, the nation is poised to capitalize on its abundant livestock resources and establish itself as a major player in the global meat and meat products market. With over 70 million animals and a growing demand for its products, Mongolia faces challenges and opportunities in expanding its exports, particularly to neighboring China. Mongolia possesses immense potential for exporting meat and meat products, and there has been a long-standing discussion about the necessity to bolster domestic production and expand the export sector. Manufacturers assert that Mongolian products can be in high demand on the global market if they can be effectively exported. There is a significant opportunity to develop agricultural goods such as goat, cashmere, yak wool, cheese, animal products, and meat products into globally competitive organic Mongolian brands and deliver them to target markets. With a population of only about 3 million people and more than 70 million animals, Mongolia is poised to become a major player in the export of meat products. However, numerous challenges must be addressed first to fully realize this potential. China, a neighboring country, is known for its modern industrial products, while Mongolia is renowned for its eco-friendly raw materials such as wool and cashmere. This presents a promising opportunity for trade, but it requires a well-established legal framework and stable trade policies between the two nations. The customs authorities of both countries must engage in fruitful negotiations to facilitate this meat trade. For example, Mongolian meat products are highly regarded by Chinese consumers. Currently, only heat-processed meat is exported from Mongolia, necessitating a 1 to 2 months quarantine period before processing and export. While agreements can be made between the countries, the practical implementation requires collaboration and concerned efforts from both Mongolia and China. Currently, there are 18 companies that are authorized to export meat and meat products to China. According to the ministry, Mongolia could potentially export 6.5 million heads of livestock, accounting to approximately 180,000 tons of meat. It's worth noting that around 90% of Mongolia's meat exports originate from its southern regions. In conclusion, Mongolia stands on the brink of a significant opportunity to expand its meat and meat products exports, but it must address various challenges first, foster cooperation with China, and streamline trade processes to fully realize this potential. A balanced society is possible only if the rights of men and women are equally guaranteed. It is crucial to maintain gender equality in all fiction and other content that shapes society's intellectual landscape. This strategy aims to change ingrained gender attitudes, paving the way for greater representation of men and women at decision-making levels and fostering opportunities for equal participation.
For instance, writers sometimes accidentally incorporate gender bias into their writing, maintaining old-fashioned ideas of how men and women should behave. According to experts, these deeply embedded beliefs should progressively fade as society changes over time. An effective project to improve gender equality has also been undertaken concurrently by the National Gender Committee in partnership with authors. Their ambitious goal is to eliminate gender prejudice from any future book content. Due to ingrained prejudices and outdated traditional ideas among all individuals, there are many misconceptions concerning gender equality in society. From the perspective of the present, the mother is portrayed in an artistically unpleasant manner in the previously published book. The primary error we made was unintentionally conveying discrimination and culturally incorrect ideas in our storytelling.
Among today's youth, the idea that a wife must prepare meals, tidy the house, and do the laundry is all but non-existent. The idea, though, cannot be based solely on the reading of literature. Therefore, it is important to respect and portray gender equality in literature as well.
In the novel, for instance, women only appear as housewives. Women do, however, work in a variety of professions, including politics and positions of decision-making. Because of this, it's crucial that we draw attention to additional problems involving women's participation in society. When it comes to equality between men and women, traditional customs and the past frequently conflict. On the occasion of the book festival, the Monsoder publishing business hosted a meeting to explore the intergenerational conflict that is presented in one book.
There are assumptions about both men and women. We believe that the education of individuals on this subject deserves more of our attention. Because we understand things better the more we are aware of it, If prejudices are to be eliminated, education must be promoted.
Numerous studies have shown that gender equality has a significant impact on both economic and social life. For instance, the corruption index drops as the number of women in political leadership rises. It's stressed as a result that social preconceptions and distinctions between men and women are continually evolving.
Now let's take a look at other Mongolian affairs.
The United States has launched a $10 million five-year program in Mongolia, partnering with the Asia Foundation via USAID to boost citizen participation and access to information. This initiative aims to strengthen Mongolia's democracy by empowering civic organizations and promoting unbiased media. USAID's Mission Director Ryan Washburn engaged with local leaders and journalists to understand challenges and opportunities in transparency, citizen engagement, and media. The program supports NGOs outside Ulaanbaatar, enhancing citizen engagement with local and national governments, and improving media skills for quality reporting and combating misinformation. This builds on USAID's long-standing support for civic engagement in Mongolia. Washburn also discussed USAID's energy programs, visited herder households, and met with small business owners who received support. Over 30 years, USAID has invested over $130 million in Mongolia to support its development goals. USAID has partnered with Mongolia for over 30 years, beginning with support for emergency repairs to power plant number 3, which kept Ulaanbaatar's heat and power systems functioning during the period of democratic and market reforms.
Thank you for staying with us. Now let's take a look at the currency exchange rates provided by Mongol Bank. The COVID-19 pandemic shaped the first quarter of the 21st century. Now a church in England is marking its 1000th anniversary by enshrining the event in stained glass.
This is St. Mary and St. Andrew Church in Whittlesford, a rural area near the historic university city of Cambridge in England. To mark its 1000th anniversary, the local community wanted to commemorate the recent COVID-19 pandemic in a way that was fitting for the church. And this is what they came up with. A stained glass window that includes figures isolating in their homes, neighbors delivering shopping to vulnerable people, and the isolation of lockdown. Reverend Olivia Coles was the church's vicar through the pandemic and was impressed by the community response during the lockdowns. She organized a village-wide effort during the lockdown with a team of volunteers contacting vulnerable villagers to ensure they had everything they needed. She saw the amount of caring in her community and knew it was an important theme for the new window.
Obviously, globally, the pandemic was horrendous. So many people had the most terrible times and struggled with loneliness, anxiety, depression, illness. I mean, it was horrendous, but there were silver linings. And I think what it showed was that people realised what mattered again. What mattered was relationships, was caring for one another. And in a way, it brought our community to life in a new way.
Reverend Coles has been amazed by the response the window has already had on locals and visitors who have visited in its first few weeks after installation. She explains how the themes of the window can help people who are going through dark times. The stained glass window was commissioned to artist Benjamin Finn in Essex. Finn works from his studio in an old abandoned church. He cuts the glass by hand and starts constructing his designs on a large light box. It fits together like a jigsaw puzzle and will later be set in a lead frame.
My initial reaction to being asked by the parish to do a window on the theme of caring was sort of blind panic, a combination of blind panic and a mind going blank. But in actual fact, because I really found it quite difficult to think of how I was going to do this, actually how I was going to, because the idea is great, it's a wonderful idea, caring, but when you actually bring it down to concrete terms, to how do you express that? And also the window's quite big, so I had to fill a lot of space.
The designs alone for his window took him about 200 hours. It took another 6 weeks to sketch out his curtain and finally 8 weeks to make the window, often working 10-hour days to complete the piece. Much of the design process took place right in the middle of the first lockdown, and its images and themes were high in everybody's thoughts. Back at the church, and locals are arriving to take a look at the latest stained glass edition. Clive Phillips is a National Health Service worker and wanted to see the window after seeing it on a local news report.
Well, I think it did bring out the best in people. Obviously it's our jobs, but people were going around checking on neighbours, making sure people have food, just a wave through the window. It was sort of, people were there for each other, and it's sort of, we thought outside ourselves.
I didn't even know where it was. The window was paid for by 35 private donations and raised £25,000. Professor Alistair Coles, a neurologist and wife of Reverend Olivia Coles, led the committee. The last time the church received a new stained glass window was also in the aftermath of the devastating global pandemic. The COVID pandemic was the biggest global health crisis in a century, and its effects are still being felt today. But the qualities of caring for others that were displayed during this time are worth commemorating. Here's to another millennium of St. Andrew and St. Mary Church.
European Union Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, alongside Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, pledged to address the immigration issue during their visit to the island of Lampedusa on Sunday. The tiny fishing island was overwhelmed with nearly 7,000 arrivals in a single day this week.
The Red Cross reported that 1,500 migrants remain in accommodation center on the island, originally designed to house only hundreds. Tensions have risen on the island, which is closer to Tunisia than the Italian mainland. Residents express impatience with the constant flow of migrants attempting to reach Europe from North Africa, not only this week but for decades.
And this puts Lampedusa under pressure, creating a very difficult situation for its people. Prime Minister Meloni and I are here today to offer a coordinated response by the Italian and European authorities. And I want to be very clear. We have an obligation as part of the international community. We have fulfilled it in the past, and we will do so today and in the future. But we will decide who comes to the European Union and under what circumstances, and not the smugglers and traffickers.
In response to the new crisis, Prime Minister Meloni has pledged tougher measures and is calling for naval blockade of North Africa to prevent migrants on smugglers' boats from departing. Von der Leyen's pledge to crack down on migrant smuggling and provide help for Italy to cope with the spike in arrivals as part of a 10-point plan appears to stop short of an immediate naval blockade. Regarding the naval mission, I still say what I have always said. The only serious way to deal with this is to help the North African authorities manage the flow of those who leave. These are initiatives that have to be done in agreement with the North African authorities. European naval missions that have been done in the past have had the limitation of sometimes being more of pull factor. There is a push factor for migration flows rather than a blocking factor. But I think, though, we need to think about starting again from what were the second and third parts of the Sophia mission, which was never implemented precisely because it turned out the first part to be kind of pull factor, and the other two parts were not implemented. That, in my opinion, is where we should restart from. The plan also includes expediting funds to Tunisia as part of a deal with the European Union to prevent the purchase in exchange for aid, helping Italy speed up asylum requests, and establishing humanitarian corridors in countries of origin discourage illegal routes. The Italian government intends to promptly activate a system for repatriating migrants who are not eligible to stay in Europe as part of measures to be decided by Monday, she said. The number of migrants undertaking the perilous sea journey to Italy has doubled compared to last year and is on pace to reach a record number seen in 2016.
Well, that's all for this 3 p.m. update. Thank you for staying with us. We'll see you tomorrow with news and updates. Have a nice evening. Goodbye.